Okay, guys, I think we got a real problem here. President Obama got out there and basically said that this guy, Merrick Garland, is the best candidate for filling that open seat on the Supreme Court. And Christian Clark was on the Roland Martin show and said that we need to examine him and give Obama the benefit of the doubt. The NAACP came out basically and said the same thing. Okay. I went back and looked at his judicial record while he was sitting on the D.C. Court of Appeals, which is where he currently resides. And I found 5 cases that he had direct impact on in the last 20 years. Okay? Now, I know there are a lot more cases that he probably had some impact on, but these are the 5 notable cases that we should all be aware of. One case involved drone strikes, and he sided with the opinion that the CIA must release all information regarding drone strikes. Now, i.e., those are drone strikes that are taken on foreign soil, because obviously the CIA can't operate on domestic soil. So all of those drone strikes that they authorize and initiate, he claims that the CIA must release all the information regarding those drone strikes. The second most notable case has to deal with enemy combatants. And this has to do with why Congress does not want to allow the prisoners in Guantanamo Bay to be relocated to domestic soil. He was of the opinion, which was approved by the D.C. Court of Appeals, that you can hold an enemy combatant without proof of their crimes. So that opinion, which did not go to the Supreme Court, basically is why Congress does not want to allow enemy combatants to be moved out of Guantanamo Bay to U.S. soil. The third, which I'm okay with, has to do with air pollution. And this was during the Bush administration, where the EPA wanted to hold up on enforcing rules regarding enforcing air pollution standards. And his opinion was that the EPA must act as far as enforcing air pollution laws. The fourth one, which, depending on what side of the street you're on, was that he was pro-gun control in D.C., i.e., he did not want, and he was in the minority on this one, he did not want to allow residents of D.C. to be able to legally own handguns. Now, he was of the minority opinion, and he went so far as to try to force it back down to a lower court. Now, that ruling didn't go back down to a lower court. It went up to the Supreme Court, and they upheld that the ban on handguns in Washington, D.C. was unconstitutional. And the last one had to do with voting rights. Okay, and this is the one that troubled me. He was against residents of the District of Columbia being allowed to vote in presidential elections. So he's anti-voting rights. Now, other than that, I couldn't find anything else on this guy on any civil rights case that he presided over, which that's not surprising because his particular court is basically limited to lawsuits that have to deal with solely the District of Columbia or where the federal government is being sued. So in the cases where the government was being sued, i.e. prisoners from Guantanamo Bay were suing the federal government in order to either be released or to get the rights that they would be entitled to if they were sitting on U.S. soil. And he basically ruled against them and wrote the majority opinion. So this guy, just based on the one voting rights issue that he was against, in my mind, does not make him the best candidate available for the seat on the Supreme Court. So where Obama's getting this from, you got me, other than the fact that the Republicans love this guy, and obviously they love this guy because of the enemy combatants decision he had, the gun control decision that he championed, even though he lost, and the voting rights that he was against for citizens of the United States merely because they reside in the District of Columbia. So if you can find something else that I missed, please feel free to let me know.